with Patty. That's it. All the way in Switzerland. And you're tuning into
10265.
Fire Radio.
I know why you're saying
And
this.
you're listening
Every time you're on tour, I
to
do.
African Diary Show with
Come
Patty.
and be shaking their, they'll be shaking their
That's
booty
it.
on stage. How do you- What do you think of all
Yeah, I've been traveling, met a lot of shorties, but I'm back again. Back to my Niger shores. Give me what I want every time I need you. I've been traveling, met a lot of shorties, but I'm back again. Back to my Niger shores. Give me what I want every time I need. Something sweet. You see the man I come in from before he pays. Me not get up for any other dance. Ooh, fine girl. Tell me what he do. I know say your body them before me shows you do. Then they tell you what they do. What they do about. They make you come the face on the board. I'm a baby, see I'm back now. Back with the same dick that makes you pass out. Back with the same reason get your pants down. Back with it. To the pride and spin your hands down. And I know this cause you know that I've been traveling. But a lot of shorties, but I'm back again. Back to my Niger shorties. Give me what I want every time. I've been traveling. But a lot of shorties, but I'm back again. Back to my Niger shorties. Give me what I want every time.
Salutations, Angela Robinson, all the way in Switzerland. And you're tuning into
Ladies, if you're listening,
the Black Fire Radio.
I know why
And you're
you're saying
listening
this.
to the African Diary Show with Patty. That's it.
Hello, my good people. Karibuni sana to another episode of the African Diary Show. I'm hoping you're doing great on this wonderful Thursday afternoon. It is exactly 20 minutes to 3 p.m. right here in the 254, and you can let me know what is the time on your end as we get started with our conversation of the day. Shout out to Frida Media C in the building. I see Prinjo in the building. Good. I see you in the building. Stana kucheki tena sana, karibu sana. And to all those who are just joining us from the radio station, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Rambo, and everywhere else. Karibuni sana once again. I hope you're doing great, and I hope this Thursday is finding you at great health and at peace. As we get started with our show for today, we started off with an amazing jam done by Black Bones featuring Victory, and the jam or The name of the jam is Niger Shori. I hope you did get to jam and to eat. And straight to the matters of the day. On today's episode, we shall be focusing on what is happening or what the West has done to keep Africa divided, or the dirty tactics used by the West to keep Africa divided. But apart from that, I'm just seeing, or this is the just in news that Kenya has received for 142.7 billion Kenyan shillings loan from the IMF. It has been approved by the IMF, and yes, I'm telling you, this is the just in news, and this is so crazy because we thought we are going to start paying the debts, but unfortunately, I think we are taking more. We are taking more money. But anyway, karibuni sana once again. Remember to keep it interactive, and also on today's day, we are seeing, or we are waiting for the Malagasy people to go and cast their votes. But also remember, there was a call by how many opposition people to boycott the vote, and we are seeing this. Actually, the Malagasy people are not outside. They are not going to cast their votes because I've seen. I was looking at the poll stations, and the number is just you can spot one person, two people. And it is so crazy that now people of Madagascar have decided we are not going to do that. But anyway, imagine what would happen even if, or rather, what would happen in other African countries like Congo. You know, Congo doesn't deserve to go to the polls and elect a president. Imagine if these people would decide we are going to vote the call of the government to go and cast our votes. Imagine what would happen. That is the power of the democracy, and that is the true democracy we keep on yearning for as Africans. But anyway, karibuni. Once again, remember to keep it interactive with us. Those are some of the matters we shall be discussing today, and much, much more. We're going back to one more jam. I'll be back with our quote of the day. And in case you have a quote of the day, please feel free and feel generous enough to share your quote of the day. We're going back to one more jam. This is let me see. This is Omale. The jam is a reason. I hope you get to jam and to eat as we get started with our conversation of the day. And also to all those who are joining me on TikTok, kindly get to tell me, where are you listening to me from? How is your day coming along? And also, what are some of your contribution to our conversation as we get started with our show?
Out there. What's happening to my jet? What's happening to you, myself? My hands are in the air. Only time brings out a different square. What is the reason you do not have your own place of mind? Are you okay for the way you're doing this thing to survive? Are you taking the pictures of every memories of your life?
Yes, my quote of the day. It's actually an African proverb that says, even if you dance in water, your enemies will still accuse you of causing dust.
What's the reason why we're still out here? Check it, can give me one better thing for you. They can suit and tie, let them fly like you. What's happening to in my jet? I surrender you myself. My hands are in the air. Only time brings out a different square. What is the reason you do not have your place of mind? Are you aware for the way you're doing this thing to survive? Are you taking the pictures of every memories of your life? What's the reason why we're still out here?
Greetings and salutations, man. All the way into Switzerland. And you're tuning into the Black House Fire Radio, and you're listening to the African Diary Show with Patty. That's it. Stay tuned.
Yes, welcome back. That is Omale, and the jam is a reason. I hope you get to jam onto that one. As we're getting started with our show for today, shout out to Nashville. I see you in the building, Karibu Sana. I also see Remington in the building, Karibu Sana, and thank you very much for joining us. Fat, I see you in the building as well, Karibu Sana. I hope you're doing great on this wonderful Thursday afternoon, and also do let me know, how is the weather on your side? Is it raining? It was raining some few minutes right here, but right now it's not raining. But as we get started with our conversation of the day, remember there was a repatriation that was done of Nigerian people that were getting to the Saudi Arabia, or that were entering Saudi Arabia. These people were forced back immediately. They landed in the airport, and they didn't give a reason. And the fact that we are seeing this already, this is in Saudi Arabia, and remember, in Saudi Arabia is where these people, they want us to go there and provide labor, because it is, of course, Africans, cheap labor. But right now we are seeing them chasing us out of their country. So this means a lot. This means now they've had enough of Africans, and they really don't want us there. But also, I was thinking also about this in a different way, or in a different perspective. I was telling myself, we have Nigeria, you'll go to the moon, you'll find the Nigerians over there, the Nigerian brothers over there. But also, I was thinking to myself, Nigeria is one of the largest oil producers in Africa. But I've never heard they have a oil deal with Saudi Arabia. This might be a row between Nigerian president, or the Nigerian government, and also Saudi Arabia. I was just thinking to myself, it's not something that is really there. I was just thinking to myself. But anyway, we know we have Nigerians who have been traveling to Saudi Arabia for the longest time. So we don't really know what is the role of those people that got repatriated back to Nigeria. But Fat is saying good day from New York. Good day to you too, Fat, and thank you very much for joining me. And I hope you are doing great on this wonderful Thursday. So, see, a row has emerged over Saudi Arabia's repatriation of 177 Nigerians on Monday, shortly after their arrival at the airport in Jeddah. Saudi authorities reportedly abruptly revoked the Nigerians' visas mid-flight for unknown reasons, but cleared the 87 others on the 264 passenger Air Peace flights. Saudi Arabia's embassy in Nigeria on Wednesday said that the repatriated passengers did not fulfill the entry conditions and submitted incorrect information to obtain a category of visa that doesn't apply to them, which was discovered upon their arrival. But was this the necessary thing to do? Anyway, but Air Peace has disputed Saudi Arabia's statement, saying on Wednesday that the visas of all passengers were vetted to be valid using Saudi Arabia's verification systems before checking in. So we are seeing it's actually a row between now the Saudi Arabians and the government of it's the government of Saudi Arabia and also the Nigerians. So we don't really know what is the row about, because these people are saying they didn't have the valid details of the category of visas didn't apply to them. So I'm like, you guys, you are the ones who vetted the end. You say these visas are valid. And so how comes they are not valid when I'm almost there, when I'm getting there, when I'm already in the flight? And I was, I getting there, it's not valid. It actually doesn't make sense, and I really want to know what the law is all about, because it doesn't make sense. Also, targeting the Nigerians alone still doesn't make sense. But the airline added that it had sent the passenger manifest to Saudi authorities before departure, but they did not cancel any visa or raise any concerns at the time. So why is it that now on their arrival, this is why they are raising the concern? There's something that might have gone wrong, and we still don't understand what went wrong. But remember, this is an Arabic country where we have a lot of people being racist, and also, in Nigeria, we have homosexuals that are still hiding, and I think that is their fear. It is not allowed. The homosexuality is not allowed in the constitution, or rather in Nigeria. But we still have these gay couples and lesbian couples that are still hiding. They're still hiding in Nigeria. So I bet, the Arabic people are very straight with their rules. And sometimes we see our African people getting hanged over there because in Saudi Arabia, they don't know how to forgive. They have these kill punishments. If you're found on the wrong, you're just hanged. There's some crimes that are not forgiven there. So you'll not be taken to the prison. You'll just be hanged. So sometimes I think they're trying to avoid Africans because of such, because now you'll accuse them of hanging and killing your own people. But at the end of the day, those people were on the wrong. But also, I really wonder what has triggered this repatriation, because at the end of the day, you cannot tell me that now you revoked the visa once I got there. You might, there's something that went wrong. There might be have a disagreement somewhere. But on Tuesday, Nigeria's Foreign Affairs Ministry said that 18 of the repatriated Nigerians were denied entry as they had criminal records and were banned from the country. Okay, so you're seeing that now we have people that had criminal records on them, and this is why they were denied entry in Saudi Arabia. And this is why I'm saying sometimes also they are checking on the safety of their country, and they are checking, I don't think they really want to kill so many Africans there, but if you go and now start abusing their rules and laws, you'll get hanged. So this is what happens. But also, many of the repatriated Nigerians had reportedly traveled to go on a pilgrimage to the Islamic holy city of Mecca. So I don't know, maybe Mecca is full, but we don't know why these people were sent back to Nigeria. But also, remember, this is an Arabic country where they don't want Africans there. They don't want black people. But if you're in that country and you're black, you're there as, poor and cheap labor. They just pay you peanuts for you to be there. But anyway, you can let me know what you think about this, because I think, one, it's just that they don't want them there. Two, it's just that now, you are black in an Arabic country where we are super racist, and we just don't want you there. Shout out to Sister Jewel. I see in the building. Karibu Sana. You're saying, very nice. Katie, thank you very much. It brightened the ancestor spirit to see their descendants who's proudly showing off their crown of beauty. Well done. Thank you for making the ancestor spirit proud. Thank you very much, Sister Jewel, once again, and Asante Sana for joining us on today's show. I hope you're doing great from wherever you are, and Asante Sana once again. So as we get to continue, I was talking about Nigerians who got repatriated back to their country from Saudi Arabia, and we really don't understand why, but some of them, we have 18 of them has they hold criminal charges, and this is why they are banned from getting to Saudi Arabia. But as we get to continue, you can let me know what you think about that matter. Why do you think these people were repatriated back to their country? What was the reason? But anyway, as we get to talk about now Madagascar, I told you in Madagascar, Karibu Sana Derek asked you, in Madagascar, the Malagasy people are set to go and cast their votes today. But yes, the presidential polls have already kicked off. But 10 opposition candidates called for boycott of the vote or of the casting of the votes. And the Malagasy people are really listening to the 10 opposition candidates. And, it's so good to see now we have people who can just agree and unite. We're not going and we will not go. Right now, if you can go on maybe any platform that is streaming live from Madagascar, you would notice like it's only you can spot one person, two people who are going to cast their votes. These people, even who are conducting the elections, are not even busy. They can even play football while they're waiting for people to go and cast their votes. But 10 opposition candidates are calling for a boycott, accusing the incumbent president of an institutional coup. And Madagascar has kicked off its presidential elections, but after a turbulent campaign period marred by boycotts and allegations of election irregularities, voting commenced smoothly on Thursday morning in the Indian Ocean nation. Karibu sana Shemblak, according to the AFP news agency, despite an overnight curfew and months of protest leading up to the election. President Andry Rajoelina, a former DJ, who first came to power with the backing of the army in 2009, is seeking a second consecutive term in office. His opponents say Rajoelina should be disqualified and accuse him of waging an institutional coup to stay in power. But the worst part in Madagascar, you'll find that most of the Malagasy people are not fully African. It's like the way we have fake Ethiopians in Ethiopia. I don't know what happened and where the mixed race came from, because these people are not fully African. Most of the Malagasy people, the Malagasy inhabitants, are not African. They are not fully African. But his opponent said Rajoelina should be disqualified and accuse him of waging an institutional coup to stay in power. 10 key opposition candidates have called on votes to shun the election, and they have organized street protests in capital Antananarivo almost every day in recent weeks, with the police dispersing many with the tear gas and arresting dozens of demonstrators. And we appeal to everyone not to vote. Conditions for a transparent presidential election accepted by all have not been met. Roland Ratsiraka, one of the protesting candidates, said on Tuesday, we do not want to participate in this fraud. It is a joke on Madagascar. Rajoelina has brushed off criticism and expressed a confidence that he will secure re-election in the first round. But now, according to the turn-up, I don't think now we will have even a 50% vote. Yeah, we will not have. And if we happen to have a winner in that election, you will definitely know this was a stolen election. And this is what happens in Africa. Because tell me, these people, they are outside demonstrating while the elections are going on. And I'm wondering now, you'll come here maybe next week or maybe during the weekend, you'll have the president already. Where will be the president coming from? Because people never went to vote. But anyway, we know how the system goes. We know how elections in Africa are not controlled by Africans. Shout out to Derek Askew. You're saying no reparations, no peace. I was not actually talking about reparations. I was talking about repatriation of Nigerians who are going to Saudi Arabia, but on their arrival, they were repatriated back to Nigeria. I was not talking about reparations, but anyway, we need reparations as Africa. Shout out to you once again. Yes, I was talking about Madagascar, and I'm talking about their election. And the saddest part is that we will hear there's an announcement. We have finally found the president. But where is the president coming from? Because the people who are supposed to cast their votes They're outside demonstrating. They have boycotted the election completely. And if you go and now try to check on those people who are turning up for the polls or to the polls, they are counted. They are counted. This will not even meet 20% of the population. But you'll hear the president won with a 50 plus 1. It is always 50 plus 1% vote. You know, it is just crazy, but we're waiting to see how this election will go in Madagascar. And also, we are wishing peace on the Malagasy people, because at the end of the day, we have seen what happens in our elections, especially right here in Africa, when we are about to go to an election. There is always violence that comes with even the US warning its people and telling them, you know, there might be a terrorist attack on this side because they know the opposition is on this side. But anyway, I'm glad that 10 opposition has called for a boycott, because 10 people or 10 candidates, it means that now these people, they really know the president did this and they have the power. Can you imagine? These 10 people, they have the power of mobilizing the whole country, because we cannot say that the whole country is routing for Rajoelina. So we are waiting to see how this election will go for Madagascar, but we are wishing peace, peace once the announcements are out. But anyway, as we get to continue, I told you our main focus of the day is about the dirty tactics used by the West to keep Africa divided. I want us to get there before we get to the main, before we get to Kenya getting a loan from the IMF. And this is so crazy. You know, our president, he was giving a briefing last week, and he promised that in the next 1 month or in December, we shall be able to start paying our debts. But what are we seeing right now? We are seeing him taking more loans, more money, you know, more loans, indebting Kenyans again. Anyway, let me go through our main focus of the day, and then we shall come back to talk about Kenya and get to know, why is this money being given to Kenya? Why is the IMF approving a loan to Kenya? Why do we need this loan so bad that now we really need to take money from the IMF? I have it here with me. I want to share my screen real quick so that we get to talk about the dirty tactics are used by the West to make sure that Africa is divided. Like what is happening in Congo, you know, like what is happening in Ethiopia. It is so sad that those people are getting divided every day. Okay. A minute. I'm sorry about that. And I'm saying, like, what is happening in Ethiopia? What is happening in Congo? A lot of people are getting internally displaced. But this is a way of dividing Africans. It is a way of dividing African people. Okay, here's my video. Let me share my screen once again. I hope you all can see my screen. And yes, here's my video.
We need to convene the leaders of this continent to talk about this visa story. This is a disaster. And let me just say the following. But if I want to move from Joburg to Gaborone, I must produce a passport. Who's the genius that came up with the scheme? You know, the Europeans are so quick to tell us that we can't bundle ourselves into a single person. One knows the time. Who designed this nonsense?
Welcome to Candid Africa, truthful and unapologetic.
I'm seized to understand and failing to understand why we are not deliberately sending young people into other parts of the continent. To come here, to be here in this beautiful country, I had to go through Ethiopia. From Ethiopia, I was in Zambia. So I went South Africa, Zambia, Ethiopia, Nigeria. Between now and December, I'm going to be in about 8 different African countries. In that same time, it's going to be easier for me to do 5 different countries in Europe than it will be to do 2 different countries in Africa. Less layovers, less time. I'm sorry, can we just pause? Just one moment, pause the time. Who designed this nonsense?
Exactly. And it is, of course, the white man. Because why do we need a passport to go in South Africa? This is in Africa. In Zambia, this is in Africa. In Kenya, this is in Africa. In Rwanda, it is in Africa. And, it was never Africa's idea we come up with the visas and passports. It was never. It, of course, the white man. And this is one way of dividing people and making sure that we are divided as African people.
Who wrote the script? I have a theory. And here is my. You only lock the vault where there is money.
True. Very, very true. Look at African countries. We have Congo, very rich. We have all Africa, very rich. And this is why they are doing what they are doing.
And so maybe there's a reason you've been kept out of that neighboring country.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's a reason you've been kept out of that neighboring region.
Of course, there's a reason. They don't want you to unite as Africans so that you can know your world. And they want to make sure that you can't travel within even Africa so that you cannot unite as Africans and realize you are world as Africans.
There's a reason you can't travel to that other place, because if you were to, there is something you might do.
They are enemies with each other. Like what is happening in Africa? We have Sudanese fighting with other people. In Africa, we're fighting amongst ourselves. And also, this is the issue of tribalism in Africa. Ati, when in Kikuyu, you are a lawyer. I'm not supposed to talk to you. You're supposed to be in that part of the country, and you're not supposed to come to this place. If you're a Kikuyu, you cannot go and set up a business in a place where it's only believed to be for laws, And this is what they have done. Yes, these are the dirty tactics they have used to keep Africa divided.
That the other one is better than the other one, and before you're done, they will hate each other so much you don't even need to pass policy or law. Here we see young people fruitfully connected by the HTTPS about what's trending and commenting on it, rather than how do we meaningfully. I came to tell you here today that I'm only interested in meaningfully building and doing business. I'm only interested in understanding how do we take the platform and put it in Johannesburg or put it in Cape Town. And how do we have not just this conversation here, but that conversation there? Because until and when Africa truly is of a single mind, it will continue to be the fodder and the meal for the rest of the global effort.
Very true. And we are always the meal. We are always the meal. They always feed from us. And I keep on telling you, these people are ticks. Ticks. We are the meal. They are ticks, sucking blood from our bodies all the time, sucking blood from Africa. The minerals. Yes, that is what a tick does. It sucks you until you're dead. It sucks blood from you until you're dead. And it is until we unite as African people, we destroy all those borders, we destroy all those visa requirements and passport requirements to travel within Africa. And this is when we will realize that we are one. This is when we will unite as African people. And this is when we will stop being the meal all the time. We will stop being the meal as African people because we are always the meal. They come, they get minerals from Africa, they go, they make products out of it, they come and resell it to us. Imagine, this is what happens. But as African people, we don't realize that we are always the meal. We're supposed to be the table, but we are always the meal. Huh? Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I would like a world for my children than the one I grew up in.
Yes, and before we continue, I see Sister Jewel is saying most of the modern day Ethiopians are the bastard descendants, children of Alexander, the pretender Greek, crawled from the Caucasian Macadamia mountain with 60,000 Aryan Neanderthal man invasion army. Yeah, very true. And this is why you find that they are saying we're not Africans. And this is why, you know, so many of them, they're actually not, they have the Caucasian blood in them. They're not fully African. And this is why you see now Ethiopia is getting divided. And this is why we also have, you know, having Neanderthal blood in them makes them feel like they can rebel. They are rebels, actually. This is why we have jihadists in Ethiopia. These people are the same people being used to gang up on Africans. They are the same people, because go and find, you know, these people are the Arabs. It is always the Arabs who are being used against the Africans. Why? Because they have Neanderthal blood in them. Yeah, they don't feel sorry coming to bomb people in a church. They don't feel sorry coming to bomb people in a mall. They don't feel sorry. It doesn't hurt them. They have the Neanderthal blood in them. Shout out to General Mosquito, Karibu Sana. You're saying greetings to you too. I hope you're well, Karibu Sana. And let's get back to the video. Shout out to CPL Ongaki Bria. I see you.
What could we do when we truly come together as a single block? A week ago, I was in my intention to travel the continent. Because, and on this point I will end with this, never traveled Africa.
Mm-hmm.
They can tell you their version of it.
It's easy for Lumumba to come and tell you how to become a Pan-Africanist, while himself doesn't even exercise a single bit of that. You know, it is very easy. He comes here with a lot of English. He tells you this, we need to unite. He tells you this, you know, he keeps on talking about how evil the Bible is and how it was used and how religion is. But he keeps on referring to the Bible, according to the Bible. This is what he does all the time. And this is what this man is saying. It is very easy for a politician to come and lie to you about Pan-Africanism and how to exercise it. But travel the world, travel Africa, you'll find this is not easy. In Congo, people are divided. In Ethiopia, people are divided. In Uganda, people are divided. The Hutu and the Tutsis. In Rwanda. In Kenya. It is even in the government. The Kalenjins, the Kikuyu, the Luo. It is always like that. But when a politician comes to you and tells you how to be a Pan-Africanist, you think that it's very easy. When Malema comes and tells you, you need to be united, we need to be having Pan-Africanist leaders, he lies to you all the time. He keeps on saying those things, but does he exercise that? He doesn't. He doesn't, even a single second. He doesn't.
Because they've never been there. They will tell you how Africans speak, even though they've never been there.
There we have it. That has been our candid speech for today.
Okay, that was my video. I hope you did get to enjoy it. That brother is a very, very great African. I wish he was one of our presidents right here in Africa, because he would make Africa great. He would make Africa great. Shout out to General Mosquito. You're saying no more borders. We want a United States of Africa. But are the Africans capable of bringing the unity back at home? Because sometimes I feel like we hinder that a lot. Sometimes we blame the puppets. Of course, they contribute. They contribute to it. But as Africans, are we ready to be united? Are we ready? Ati unasikia Mkikuyu is working with a Kisii. Are we ready? Eh? You know, it's always like that. Ati Wakisii, you know, I've heard people saying Wakisii watolewe Kenya. It's always like that. It's always like that. It's always a funny thing to say, but in real sense, it's something we exercise. Sometimes it's like jokes, but sometimes it's something that is very real. The hatred is there. It's always there. But shout out to Sister Jewel is saying, in pursuit of original bronze skin, indigenous natives, Greeks, people, Neanderthals worship as their gods of bronze skin in revenge for humiliating defeat of his father Philip. Okay. Okay. So I was talking about, as Africans, are we ready? Are we ready to unite? Are we ready to be one Africa? Are we ready to become the United States of Africa? That's up to us. It is up to us. Are we ready for the revolution? It's up to us. And I keep on saying, you know, no matter what you're doing today, you can use it to fuel the revolution. You know, you can use it to fuel the revolution. Whatever you're doing, may it be like me here. I'm trying to educate people. May it, you're walking on the road. You can also try to talk to people. You can also do something. When you see a white man, make them feel uncomfortable, just like the way they make you feel uncomfortable in their countries. Yeah. You see them sitting next to you. Let them, you like this, you go poo. You know, they'll feel uncomfortable. Just like the way they make you feel uncomfortable. They call us monkey, but they are the stinkiest people you can ever meet. They stink. So when you come across them, make them feel uncomfortable. That is one way of fueling the revolution. Yes, it is one way of fueling the revolution. General Scripture is saying, before it was only Upper Africa and Lower Africa. All these nationalities and borders are new. Very true. They are new, and we're actually going to have now even Central, you know, we actually have Central Africa. We have East Africa. We have South Africa. We have West Africa. North Africa. We're going to have North Africa. You know, we have those. So I don't know. We are going to have northern East Africa. You know, and it doesn't make sense. Shout out to Yusuf Hassar, Asante Sana, for joining us, and thank you for tapping the screen. And to all those who are just joining us. So I was talking about the dirty tactics used by the West to keep Africa divided. And I've shown you one of these things they are doing, like division, powering wars in Africa. We have wars that we don't know where they came from. We have wars that we don't even understand how they started. Right now, we are talking about a silent genocide that is happening in Congo. We're talking about a silent genocide that is happening in Ethiopia. But tell me, how did this war start? We actually don't know. We don't know. Nobody knows how they started, but they are recognized once they escalate. Once we have so many people dying. Once we have 7 million people internally displaced. 3,000 people dying every day. Imagine how sad it is. It is so sad. And Africans, we're supposed to be on the watch. Because I've said this and I'll say this again. We are always the meal. We're supposed to be the table, but we are always the meal. They eat us, they suck our blood all the time, and they cannot survive without us. And this is why they are all over Africa. They don't want to leave Africa because they are ticks. We are the meal. And once you don't eat, we actually eat to live. So if they don't eat, they'll die. That is what is happening. If they don't eat, they'll die. But anyway, let's get to Kenya. And shout out to Mr. President William Ruto. He has just received, or the IMF has just approved 142.7 billion Kenyan shillings loan to Kenya. More taxes are coming for you. Kinaendelea kuturamba hapa hivi. More taxes are on the way. The president last week on his briefing, the first ever briefing by the president to the nation, he said, in December, we shall be able to start repaying our debts to the foreign lenders. But shout out to him. I thought repaying is not taking more money. It's actually taking more money to him. I think he's taking a loan so that he would be able to pay the loan, the other loan. Man, this is so crazy. We're living in a place where even selling groundnuts without a permit, now you'll be fined 1 million Kenyan shilling. And I'm even wondering how much money is this peanut seller is making for them to be charged 1 million Kenyan shillings. It doesn't make sense. Yesterday, Kindiki came to tell us after people complained about the IDs, he reduced the cash of replacing the ID and said, we are going to lower it to 1,000 Kenyan shillings. So are we supposed to clap for you? Are we supposed to, say, hooray? Are we supposed to celebrate that? It is still more than 100% increase. It's actually 1,000% increase. And you don't make sense. It's crazy. They reduced petroleum with the 2 Kenyan shillings, and Kenyans are supposed to celebrate. The price of diesel remained the same, and we're supposed to celebrate because they said we are going to be experiencing a high of 10 Kenyan shillings every month. So we're supposed to celebrate that petroleum went down with the 2 Kenyan shillings. Kerosene remained the same, and diesel remained the same. We're supposed to celebrate about that. This is so sad. It is so sad. And I was going through some tweets, and this was Jacob Juma. Is it Jacob Juma? This person was assassinated, and he was actually assassinated after he tweeted about the dictatorship of Ruto. And he said, if you vote in this person, just know he's a dictator, and just know this will happen. And actually, it is what is happening. But after that, this person was assassinated. But anyway, the International Monetary Fund announced on Thursday that it had reached an agreement on $938 million loan for Kenya, an East African country facing liquidity problems and economic difficulties. Kenya's economy, the locomotive of East Africa, has been severely shaken by COVID-19. When was the COVID-19? Come on. Will we always be blaming everything on this COVID-19? Followed by the shock waves of war in Ukraine and historic drought in the Horn of Africa. Come on. We're talking about this place that is actually flooding right now. You know what doesn't make sense is that the same place that is flooding right now, it is the most place that is stricken by drought and famine every year. Public debt in the country of some 53 million inhabitants stood over 10 10,100 billion shillings, that is 64.4 billion euros, and at the end of June, according to the Treasury figures, representing around 2/3 of gross domestic product. Kenya is under pressure on its liquid assets, mainly due to mainly due to large Eurobond maturing in June 2024 in the amounts of $2 billion, according to the IMF, which notes, however, a recovery in the agriculture and tourism sectors. William Ruto announced that the country would repay a first tranche of $300 million in December. This agreement still has to be validated by the IMF's executive board, which meets in January. If approved, Kenya will have immediate access to $682 million, according to the financial institution. The economy has shown resilience with a real GDP growth of 5.4% in the first half of 2023, mainly thanks to a solid recovery in the agricultural sector following the return of the rains, noted the IMF in a statement. So we're celebrating to have the GMOs actually. Yeah, it is putting up our agricultural sector. Although inflation has slowed by positive 6.9% year-on-year in October, prices for petrol, basic foods, and energy remain high. The cost of servicing the country's public debt, mainly to China, has risen sharply with the collapse of the currency. In an attempt to reduce its debt, the government of President William Ruto has prepared a budget highly unpopular with the population and which has led to sometimes violent demonstrations, including numerous new taxes expected to raise to 289 billion Kenyan shillings. That is 2 billion euros to up to 3,600 billion shillings. That is 24 billion euros budget planned for 2023 to 2024. Man, it is crazy. This one is crazy. I don't know. We don't know what more to expect from Ruto. We don't know. We actually don't know. He promised the country. This was in the press. It is everywhere. And just like I have read from the news in the article, he promised that in December, we shall be able to pay our first tranche to the foreign lenders. But what are we seeing? The opposite. We are seeing the opposite. Imagine. It is so crazy. General Mosquito is saying, before it was only Upper Africa. Okay, I read that. You're saying Ruto is a devil. Let him not let him not hear you. But anyway, he is a real one. Sister Jewel is saying, I'm stating the point that the Aboriginal Greeks were black before they were defeated and genocide of the earth by Neanderthals who had taken their story for themselves as history. Okay. Now I get your point. I get your point, Sister Jewel, and thank you for the information. So I was talking about President Ruto, and this is so crazy that, you know, not so many people will get to know that Ruto has taken a loan again. Not so many people will get to know this because he promised to pay. He promised to pay the debts. It is so crazy. It is so crazy that now we are going to experience new taxes, more taxes. And I don't know what Kenya is turning to, because right now Kenya is turning to something within a Kenya that we have never thought of. This is what it's turning to. A Kenya that nobody knew it was going to be like this. Nobody. nobody thought Kenya would be like this one day. But shout out to Jacob, was it Jacob Juma? Let me confirm about that, because I want even to read you the tweets of what he had said about, about Ruto's being elected as president. Let me find out real quick so that I get to read it to you. I hope I find it. I don't know why I can't find it, but in case I find it, I'll read it to you, because, okay, let me see where I can find it real quick, because it's talking about Ruto's government. And okay, yes, it is Jacob Juma. And he's already dead, but his tweets are actually haunting us right now. So this is what he tweeted. This was in 28th March 2016. Can Kenyans withstand another looter in the name of William Ruto, as they did with Moi for 24 years this day and age? It will be a tragedy. Fellow Kenyans, just imagine William Ruto being Kenya's president. The country will burn. He is arrogant, abusive, coercive, and grabber. That is what Jacob Juma tweeted. Ruto has very vicious and cowardly attack dogs like of Murkomen, Kindiki, and Duale. And those people are actually his cabinet secretaries. When they bark, you may think they control the world. I am fighting William Ruto over KCA land grab of Western Hotel in court, Uhuru over Eurobond debt, and Duale over GDC fraud. They are bitter. Imagine Murkomen and Dennis Itumbi comprehending complex land transaction issues. Too complex for them. Itumbi is functionally illiterate. That is what Jacob Juma tweeted. This was in 2016. So what happened to Jacob Juma? Jacob Juma was actually assassinated. The late businessman Jacob Juma's dire warnings have resurfaced to haunt Kenyans, particularly those who cast their votes for President William Ruto's administration. Before his tragic assassination, Juma had prophesied that Ruto's presidency would mark a dark chapter in Kenya's history. On March 28, 2016, Juma took it to Twitter to express his concerns, sharing a tweet that now echoes with chilling prescience. Can Kenyans, I read all that. So after some time, Jacob Juma was assassinated. And I don't know who did this. I hope you also don't know. Because we don't know who did this. We don't know who assassinated Jacob Juma. But at least we have a reason to know why he was assassinated. We have a reason to his assassination, But General Mosquito is saying a president that always looks stressed out for no reason can never be trusted. Exactly. He can never be trusted. It is so crazy. And this was not even the first warning. We had so many warnings. We had so many people complaining about this, but he's installed. He's not elected. He was installed there. There's a reason he's there. So at the end of the day, even if we keep on complaining and we're not acting, he will still be there. He'll still be oppressing us. We shall still continue crying as Kenyans, and there's nothing we can do if we are not willing to act. There's no need of keeping to complain if we're not acting. But anyway, family, we shall wrap it up right there. Asanteni sana for keeping it the Blackout Fire Network. Thank you to all those who are with us on today's episode. Thank you, General Mosquito. Thank you, Sister Jewel. To the rest of the silent listeners, Asanteni sana as well. I hope you enjoyed our conversation today, and also thank you for keeping it interactive with me. Shout out to all those who are with me on the radio, the silent listeners. I hope you have as well enjoyed the conversation of the day, and you have taken notes as African people about the dirty tactics used by the West to keep Africa divided. And I hope you've learned something or a thing or two. And I hope now you can I hope you know how you can stay united as a one Africa. But anyway, I see Sister Jewel is saying General Mosquito, the borderline was drawn up by a group of drunken European Neanderthals colonialists who draw up a mock version of Africa's map, slashed lines across with eyes closed. They draw a lot. Yeah. They were drunk men, drunk Neanderthals. But anyway, family, hope to see you tomorrow or later on the Word of the Streets. And I hope you get to enjoy the rest part of your day. See you. Enjoy the rest part of the day. And I'm leaving you with this jam that we left on during the motivational quote of the day. This is Omale. The jam is a reason. Get to jam and to eat, and hope you get to join us later on the Word of the Streets.
Greetings and salutations, Max and all the way in Switzerland. And you tuning into the Black Fire Radio, and you're listening to the African Diary Show with That's it.
All I will live just your relax. I know who to run to right now. I'm examining the fire. I'ma save mercy out there. Once I get low in my chair, I surrender to myself. My hands are in the air. Only time brings out a different smell. What is the reason you do not have your own place on my hand? Are you ungrateful now? Are you doing this thing to suffer? Are you taking the pictures of every memories of your life? What's the reason why we're still out here? Check it up and go through. Make a nigga suit and tie and tip fly like you. Tell you the road you try hard time and so. Is that we my jam, my jam. My soul, my hands are only time